Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this public meeting. We are excited to share an update on the construction of the middle school. You all to recognize some of my colleagues, school member Brian Castellanos, school member Lorraine Gately, school member Eric Dugan, school member John Ford, Board 5 Councilor Diana Jacutis, Board 2 Councilor Rick Sparber, as well as school member Tiffany Bagno. Thank you all for being here. We're also joined by various city officials and members of the Pickering School Building Committee. Tonight is a update on the progression of the system. Excited to be sharing this update to keep along. The School Building Committee has made it a goal to try to get transparent to providing this kind of information, and we are also in the midst of the permitting process as an environmental justice community as part of it that we are seeking and obtaining, and so this meeting is part of our outreach for that as well. So many people, so a lot of familiar faces. I think you all recognize that this is a right now that it needs to be updated, and also as face incredible challenges, opportunities, and challenges with the number of cases for all those things. I know it's a goal that the schools think about every day. This year as well, and everyone on the school committee, all of my colleagues in governmental council and throughout the city recognize that the urgency of this project, the imperative of this project, the opportunity presents, and so I want to thank you all for being here. We will bring time for questions and welcome any stuff. Like now to turn it over to
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the project team, the fire associate, and left field, we wanted to welcome you all here tonight. If anyone needs translation, we have interpreters here in Spanish, Portuguese, Arabic, Haitian Creole, and there's come on. If anyone needs translation, if you could raise your hand, we can put you with an interpreter.
Si alguien necesita interpretación, si alguien necesita un intérprete, hay servicios de interpretación. Y la mano suma.
Okay, thank you. Turn it over to Eva to start the presentation.
Hey, hi everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I really appreciate your coming out. I know the city really appreciates your coming out. I'm sure it's on a weekly basis. People involved in the project. Introduce myself. I'm Adrienne Lennon. I am the senior ecologist and I'm a partner with BSC Group. We are contracted specifically for the purpose of carrying this project through multi-agency environmental permitting, also locally. So the purpose of this presentation is to really go over the thresholds of this project that require us to present before we get state how we are going to be impacting the site and the community in the context of the environment, climate change, and So moving forward. On the project team, I had introduced some members of the municipal team of the city of Lynn. Here in the audience, Daniel Smith, Mike Donovan, Laura Stockfish, Lauren Drago, and the city of Lynn School Building Committee. With Left Field Project Management, which is the OPM for this project, Tim Baker and Lynn Stapleton. And Greg Carlo. Thanks. With Raymond Design Associates, which is the project architect, Jean Raymond, and Steve Washburn. And coming from the SC group, my colleague, Diana Wogan, who's not here tonight, and myself. Going over the presentation agenda tonight, I'd like to cover the objective of the MEPA filing before the Commonwealth. Talk about the project a little bit in high summary, give you some description about how we got to this place, some of the alternatives that we had to go through the school building committee MSBA process to arrive at this site location in the places we are going through with both the legislature and with MEPA, an assessment of the impacts to the community and to the environment that going to be affecting the statutory and regulatory standards and requirements we need to address as part of the permitting and mitigation measures. At the end, we'll have an opportunity for questions or comments. If you see a slide that you would like to go back to, just raise your hand and I will mark it on my notes. So this is your first look at the Pickering Middle School project. It is one of the renderings that we've been working with, design development. Here we are covering public involvement strategy, and part of the permitting that we're doing requires a community outreach and engagement plan and schedule. This is a standard protocol with the Commonwealth for the MEPA filing, and it is especially important because this community does have priority populations and environmental justice populations within the census tracts. So our MEPA permitting approach in this case is to file what's called an expanded environmental notification form and request what is called a single environmental impact report. This way, we're streamlining permitting and front-loading our public engagement strategy and our design submission to the state so that we're able to collect feedback from them as early as possible in the process, which expedites permitting and also supports the project moving forward through the MSBA process. The highest hurdle with MEPA for this project is MEPA and the Article 97 disposition process. Article 97 is a limited conservation protection that can be placed upon public lands and private lands, which will prevent it from being available. In the outreach program, we have laid out a calendar through the fall of going out into the community to try to access members of the community that will be impacted by the project. This began in July with the ongoing project site, and we will link that at the very end. So if you haven't had an opportunity to look at it, please do now. It's definitely the #1 resource for updating information on the project. Beginning in August, we set up planners for the community to come and attend this public forum. We have been producing press releases and postings in social media and blog sites to try to generate some interest and access to the project. After the forum, we will be opening a survey that you will be able to access by QR code and ask and answer a couple of questions about the project so that we're able to gather testimonial feedback and really understand what matters to you with the project. Once we have closed that survey, we'll be a little bit farther along in design. We will have an opportunity to provide another public forum, we'll report that survey feedback, what we've learned, and also tell you a little bit more about the project and if it may have changed as a result. This is a look at the project, and for some of you, I realize this may be the first time, but the new Pickering Middle School will serve 1,100 students in grades 6 through 8 in 183,834 gross square feet. The project brings equity to the district, with a recently constructed Thurgood Marshall Middle School has elevated programming and facilities in Lynn Public Schools. The building will be 5 stories high, with play areas and open fields constructed in the existing Magnolia Avenue. So you can see here on the site, we are inside of the existing Pickering Middle School. And behind us is the playing field for the Little League program. Here we have the Sisson School, and this is the proposed location of new Pickering Middle School, which is largely a surface. Parking and transportation will need to take place through the existing Magnolia Park site. Magnolia Park is going to be conserved as a pocket park on the frontage of Magnolia Ave, where the facilities that are currently existing on Magnolia Ave have some space for an open playing field on the lower portion, so we are retaining resources to the site. The building itself on Campbell Ave and on the access of the entry will rise at 4 stories because of this lower end. This is the preliminary schedule for the project. We want to highlight to you where we are located. This is August 2023, currently in schematic design, where we are working through some of the challenges of the site and also the constraints of the site. Although we have some requirements for parking and facilities that we'll continue. We will make another submission to the MSBA to move the schedule forward, and we're hoping to begin construction in the summer of 2024. Right now, we are in Article 97 disposition process with the legislature, and it overlaps with the MEPA filing, which is with the Commonwealth and can take 2 years. Arriving at the site required the school building committee to review many possible sites for the new Pickering Middle School. Those sites included Warren Park, the Union Hospital site, the Broadway site, and the Rockdale. I'm aware that this project actually made it through site selection in the past, and it's very challenging for the community, and ultimately was not a successful application. So the school building committee took this very seriously and tried to consider the best available option for both the district and the community in selecting them. So these sites were eliminated for various reasons, but largely because ultimately the Magnolia Avenue Park site and our ability to operate the design within it was going to be the most feasible and reasonable option to the community. The sites that were selected are the existing Pickering site and the Magnolia Park site. The challenge on the Magnolia Park site is that it is conserved by Article 97 limited protection. That is to say, it is a park, it is understood as a park, and construction and development on the site at any time that is not pursuant to the interest of public lands and active and passive recreation is not. This is just a table showing the preliminary process by which we are evaluating sites. Many sites were actually going to be subject to Article 97 disposition, including Daddy Park, and other sites were private sites that we wanted to hire. And because we weren't able to identify exactly what was going on in those sites in the first place, there's an open risk to building on private parcels. On the site itself, we evaluated multiple different options for constructing the school. Here you can see Pickering and Sisson reconstruction combination in the top left. Here you can see we assigned the entire Pickering school to the location of the park. Here we had decided that we could potentially do a bridge to the existing surface parking area and also build a Pickering school on the parkland. And then finally, and ultimately, the school building committee decided that the best thing to do is to consolidate the school, even though it will be a taller building, onto one location and conserve as much of the open space as possible, make space available for parking and transportation, and provide all of the services in line with the school project. A couple of photos of the existing conditions. I think everybody here is probably very familiar with them. But this is the school site, as you can see it on the other side. We have playground, vintage with view. There is a diamond playing field. There is an open field and also surface parking and surface play area used right now in the system. Siting of the building has been very complicated, in part because we have an elevation change that we need to work through in terms of moving vehicles like buses and buses across the site, among other things, parking, and those requirements that change our ability to really work on the site and also within the traffic constraints of this unit. Ultimately, we were able to put most of the laying the higher elevation and keep most of the parking and transportation on the lower elevation. This will be safer for students and also here's an opportunity to look at the proposed building floor plans. This is not a complete design, but it is a really exciting part of the school building development project. Everybody really wants to know what the inside is like and the treatments of the school. You can see it's going to be a small, compact building, a lot of windows and a lot of lights into the building. Opportunity to break up programming floors so that students will enjoy the entire school. In front of MEPA, the Massachusetts Environmental Permitting Act office, we are subject to 3 thresholds, which require us to file this EENF and request this EI form. The first is the disposition of land. And that means that we need to request not only locally, but also at the state level and before MEPA the approval to dispose of the Article 97. This is a complex process because the Commonwealth requires that we provide one-for-one replacement of any loss of 97 protected lands and facilities for their boundaries somewhere else in the community and as close to the existing site as possible. The second threshold before MEPA that we have a concern with is specifically wetlands, waterways, and headlands. And you may not think that if you understand the site and know it very well. However, the lower elevation of the site in Magnolia Park is actually in a floodplain. And therefore, it is qualifying as an other wetland. So while there is not open water there is an issue of compensatory flood storage that must be addressed. Because in the eyes of MEPA, aerial flooding is a problem that continues to get worse. And any new construction that requires any funding from the Commonwealth or from a Commonwealth community must consider all risks of climate change impacts. And this is, of course, one of them, I think, this summer. We're letting it more than out. The third MEPA threshold is transportation. This is because we are consolidating schools and we will be increasing the student load and population on the site to 1,100 students. And we anticipate the generation of 2,000 or more new average daily trips onto roadways and providing access to reasonable location. This is not related to busing, it is specifically related to the volume of population that we are expected to now coming onto this site and how that population will be serviced likely by givers. Looking at the Magnolia Avenue Park and its current protection under Article 97, we have to consider all the facilities on the site. So this park has the baseball diamond that is currently in use by the Little League, a second baseball diamond, a tot lot and basketball courts, and open field space, which is also in consideration for our position. There is a set of tennis courts that are adjacent to the site, and they actually exist on school property and not on municipal property, so they are not considered as part of this position. The transfer is going to require both parcels that are associated with Magnolia Avenue to be released from our. That makes for a total of 5.8 acres between the two parcels at Magnolia Park to be released. The process of releasing parcels from Article 97 protection requires the affirmative unanimous vote of the Conservation Commission and the Parks Commission to release the parcels from Article 97 protection, and those referrals to the City Council, where it is required to have a 2/3 majority vote in support of the disposition of the parcels, and also be approved there for the disposition of the parcels before it can then be forwarded to the state legislature, where both the House and the Senate have to approve by a 2/3 vote the disposition of the parcels. It is signed then by the governor, and concurrently, it is filed before the MEPA filing. So the Commonwealth of Massachusetts MEPA office is watching to see if the parcels are also being properly disposed of through the local boards, the City Council, the mayor, and also the state legislature. Here in Lynn, on August 8th, the City Council approved by majority of the disposition of these two parcels. And on August 24th, the House and Senate and Governor will be, the properties will be forwarded up to the legislature for the House and Senate to review when they come back into session. Facilities on the site include the playground and basketball court will be provided by the project. They are part of the project scope, not only for community recreational purposes, but also may be considered as part of the project. So you can have it both ways when you're replacing the site. In addition, there will be surface playing areas that are associated with specifically school programming. The baseball field, which occupies a little more than an acre, will remain and be conveyed back to Article 97 protection after the completion of the project. So this baseball field in the corner of this one, existing Pickering, is not going to be. Now, the replacement parcel for this project was decided to be the Parkland Avenue parcel, which is somewhat related to the control site. The Pickering Middle School years ago. Part of Article 97 disposition requirements around the 1-for-1 replacement is not only the facilities, but also the open land and the community's ability to be resilient in the face of climate change by way of providing carbon sequestration services and flood storage capacity services by just the soil entries in the site. So this is an excellent site for us to use for the replacement parcel. It is very close to the existing school and the existing site. It is only a half a mile away, which is exceptional for replacement parcels. And it is associated with the Breeds Reservoir and the dog park that is existing there already. So this is a great opportunity for the community to view a parcel that is already being used for open space and recreation services and actually protect it more formally than it ever has. As you can see, the Breeze Reservoir parcel is actually 40 acres large. It is a big site and it runs right up against the water resource. We have decided to subdivide a portion of the parcel in front. On the frontage of the Parkland Avenue roadway, so that we are in fact improving and increasing the environmental value of the site behind it, because we will be eliminating one of the points of access to the site in the rear. So we're finding our way to that 1-for-1 replacement in acreage and service. And in addition to that, we are providing the secondary benefit of making it even more difficult for the because of the protection. And the subject of wetlands, waterways, and tidelands, as I mentioned, we do have a floodplain issue to address. We do have the 100-foot buffer zone just on the front of Magnolia Avenue to the water resource across the street. And we also have a 100-year limit. We are working through, in addition to more formalized land. As you can see, MEPA has actually changed the Zone A floodplain boundary pursuant to maps that will be promulgated in the course of this project. Requires us to in our permitting efforts. So much of the site is predicted to be impacted and is predicted to be required to provide compensations. Cannot have any structures that will push water around the site and force it off of the site, for example. And then the third threshold is the transportation threshold, which we talked about. We are anticipating additional vehicle trips, and it will require us to conduct a greenhouse gas study during by modeling the amount of new additional greenhouse gas and providing mitigation. The Commonwealth is really committed to reducing greenhouse gas impacts, and especially in environmental justice communities. So we will be making a very concerted effort to limit our overall impact as we have applied this. The site itself or construction will be cut and regraded to create an appropriate, consistent, and stable slope to support roadways, sidewalks, things on our system. The project will convert a portion of the additional area into development, retaining wall, roadways, sidewalks, and of course requires this disposition of water from the protection on the Magnolia Avenue. The next steps in the project include continuing to move the R97 and access forward. And in addition, as we get closer and closer with design, specifically around flood storage and other matters on the site, we will be able to establish a total project budget and funding schedule. The total project budget cost is estimated to be approximately $170 million at the preferred schematic design phase. To complete and submit the schematic design submission to MSBA, we need to work through these problems and gain the MSBA approval and sign. Finally, the City Council will need to approve on the project. At that time, we will be able to move forward with beginning the details. If you have any questions about the project and would like to follow along, please do view the project website. You can Google Pickering Middle School building and use that first. You can also view the project YouTube channel provided, and on your way out the door, please do join the community survey, respond to the questionnaire, give us your feedback. It is a very loose and conversational piece, and we would love to collect your thoughts. We're happy to take any questions.
The drive that'll go from the upper park near the Sissy parking lot down towards Magnolia Park. Yeah, that's, that has not been determined one way or another. We are kind of looking at most, frankly, planning on most of the traffic coming off Magnolia to the front of the new school and then exiting back on the Magnolia place. That drive is there mostly for fire access, and it could be gated or not gated, depending on what we have to do with some other. I believe there's close to 25 feet as a green buffer in which we intend to plant evergreens. And then the road itself, I believe, will probably be 24 feet wide, but it may be less as we finalize the position of the building.
So John, just for the, we want to hear your questions instead of on Zoom. If you mind calling to the microphone so people on Zoom can hear as well. Please. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. My name is Roberto Hernandez. I ask is how much privacy by school. Yeah, that's one of the concerns. Not everybody from the house on that side of their name is here today, but I do have to.
Well, that is why we were pretty cognizant about leaving a wide planting area. And then I don't know that the trees are gonna take a while to grow. But there's fast growing evergreens that can come up about 30 feet in years. Not determined yet, but they could be anywhere.
When I know I want that field, for example, for the school where I work at. Great job, and there is some stuff. I have to show you that. The stuff you have to look at. It's pretty. The stuff that you have. You should build and make it. It's nice, it's pretty. It takes a lot longer. They have to know. Up there as well, market. And guys planning to be strong for you. And that is no strong. But I tell you, East Nebraska, beautiful school, always. That's all, I'm giving it for myself. Beautiful school. And when we got a big snowstorm, and we put the snow, we're blocking the parking lots. And there's staff comes in, it happens to them right away. And this is for everyone involved with it. This question, they're the science. Traffic. And now, I see the traffic. Parents park their cars and they walk through. And that park lot is full of teachers about no parents. If you're talking about, well, how many voters do you have? There's a lot of stuff. Everybody's here. Well, come on, this question is
That's the purpose of the meeting. So,
appreciate the feedback. Well, thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
That's all the questions. My name is Michael Satterwhite, and what have we done with regards to the location of the old building? And then when we brought the new Marshall Middle School, we set aside money to tear it down, and that hasn't taken place yet. So what is the plan for this existing building when it's done? And have we taken into consideration to let the neighbors know that when the new Pickering is done, the construction can still take place to tear down the old?
To date, the plan has been to take advantage of this building in one form or another. It hasn't been defined or approved, but there is a lot of enrollment growth in the district, and there's no plans currently to take this building down. Instead, maybe to do some improvements to the house, overflow beyond.
So it would expand system? Is that the plan?
Possibly, yes. I don't know if it will be one big elementary school or two schools. I don't even know if that's what. But there's no plan to take this down right now.
And that's why it's not a part of your presentation tonight. That's my assumption. Okay. In addition to that, you know, obviously the concerns I have is we obviously built a new glass school some time ago. I went there when it first opened, and then we had issues with where it was built. There have been people that said that underneath this location that you picked is not an ideal spot. What has been done to test, I guess, the soil or the land to make sure that it's going to be feasible to build there?
Yeah, we, when Adrian had the slides up with the various places that we looked on this combined site to build, the reason we ended up placing it and to the other side of Sisson is that's more native soils as opposed to fill that's down on the new farm. So there has been an extensive amount of digging and test borings out in that part down here, which is kind of led us to this area as the most advantageous from soils perspective. And we're also really well aware of what happened at Classical, the leaving, and when we designed for the Marshall, you know, we made sure that, you know, it didn't happen again, and we will make sure it didn't.
Obviously, we end up having to deal with it, and it does disrupt education. It's a school, so I appreciate that you have that into consideration. And my last question has to do with parking. I'm assuming all of the areas are going to be available to the schools, not just Magnolia.
That is correct. Actually, designed the Magnolia parking to not only, well, on the whole site, to provide parking for the existing system, an assumption that this school may have teachers as well, and the new Pickering. So we're providing parking in this whole campus as well.
And I might be mistaken, but I saw some language in this material I have that's talking about 15 classrooms. Can you define what that means in this platform?
Yes. They have four core subjects.
Yeah.
That may some people might call it elective, and correct me if I'm
Yeah.
wrong.
Or unified arts is another, we tend to call it unified arts.
But I think that-
And the special education aspect of it, I'm assuming or someone within our special education department
Yes.
has some say. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hi, Tiffany Magnolia. I'm just wondering if you could talk a little bit about what happens to the temporary classrooms that are stuck to the end of system in this process. Right now, system doesn't have any extra space. Are classes going to be moved? Are they going to be demolished prior to beginning construction? Just talk a little bit about the combination of enrollment and then the physical building.
So that's been a significant thought process, how we're going to build this and operate both schools on the site while it's under construction. So the plan at this point is to, when the contractor first comes on site in the summer, actually take this space right here, take the auditorium off for the year and a half that it's going to take to construct the new Pickering and construct temporary classrooms in this space. And you can see you all have windows. And then so the idea is to replace those 4 classrooms, plus there's an office to there within the existing Pickering spaces that are not used for classrooms. And then we'll be able to take down the modular addition and go on with the construction of the new Pickering. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just to chime in, it's a great question, and I think the planning team and the building committee has been very mindful of trying to address the potential impacts on the operations of the current Pickering system, and also helps us think ahead. So we're thinking about what's going to happen with this building. Simply we're creating space for the district really helps us for the next steps from the public schools and what's going to happen at the elementary level. We all know there's a lot of work. This is going to be huge for the district. Secondary level for the middle schools. We all know we have a lot of work coming in the elementaries and the spaces that are needed there to have a potential for swing space and additional that investment create not just for the operation here at secondary construction, but also for the next steps as a district. I think we need to.
So like a good project manager plan is finding something else about the phase, which is when we do create the new temporary classrooms in here so we can remove the modulars. The thought is, or the plan is, that these become classrooms for Pickering students, and that the classrooms closest to the system wing will be used by system students so that system kind of stays as a contiguous entity. And separated.
I have 2 questions on the webinar. One is, could they build a parking garage to provide more space rather than using up some of the lawn?
I'll just take a shot at it, but frankly, parking garages are very expensive, and the project just will not support them.
And then the second question is there a new timeline?
We have extended schematic design to budget and schedule by a couple of months. The reason it went 2 months is because MSBA board that has to approve the project only meets every other month. So instead of going to the October board, we are now going to the December board. This is giving us more time to be able to be certain on price and also certain on what MSBA's portion of the funding will be.
No.
So I serve on the student committee with all of it's last week.
to today's. It was a concern that was brought up by one of the street residents. That is the rumor around. Will there be any point of eminent domain? Is that going on? Can we answer that?
Yeah, there's everything that's being proposed is on city-owned land, so there's absolutely no need for any eminent domain.
There was also concerns around solar panels. House number 16, 20, and 20. You were pretty shocked. I never thought about that. Very nice of you. That issue. Into it, you should look into that. There are some contracts that go into solar, to own solar panels that I didn't know about. I'm still not an expert on it, but it was information for those folks that might be impacted.
You know, if we can get the location of the homes, we can probably do some shadow studies. See if they
Size of the six. Also, that the size in between, I didn't quite understand it, but like, when you bring in large quantity of things, you need a wide aisle. They don't believe that the aisles are wide, and they would like you to ask, someone from Marshall to talk to you about that, so that you could, so that they are wide enough and the sinks are.
We've had meetings with the food service director, to get the preliminary layout done, but we have no problem reaching out to get details like that.
I would highly suggest you talk to the cooks, because they're the ones that are in the kitchen doing the work and moving the materials. But sometimes management has a good understanding, but they're not doing the work, so you need to talk to the workers.
I have another question. The new student body population is estimated at around 1,000. What is the current student population, and will that impact traffic? And were traffic studies conducted? We're looking up the exact enrollment right now.
I believe when we started.
Yeah, you're correct. 556, actually.
100, so 150 more. We have done studies, and part of what we've been trying to understand is how the district, the city will district the middle schools and where those 500 come from. They travel up to this site, and I think we're narrowing in on. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Getting an idea where, how the traffic might flow through the city. And at that point, we'll finalize the study and have recommendations, not only for this site, but off-site mitigation.
We do have a team, members from the city. Lauren Drago is part of that team. And members of the school department who are looking at multiple different versions of ways to cut the city in different places to see what's the best alternative. We have not come to a final decision yet, but we're getting very close.
Any other questions on that?
No.
Anyone else here?
Do you know if there's gonna be any blasting, and if so, how long? You know, yeah, we do not anticipate any blasting. Doesn't.
Hi, my name is Carmen Bacon, and I am a resident on Camino, and I'm also a public school teacher. So I have a couple of things to ask, and I want to advocate for the children. When the new Pickering is built, are we going to bring back foods, clothing, wood shop, metal shop, the things that I had when I went to Pickering?
Sure. So part of the Unified Arts, so Marshall Middle School does have, cooking, sewing, carpentry. There's, technology. So yes, I would think that that will be part of the design of this building.
And then when the change happens and the children are not going to be coming to this building, will Sisson acquire the gym, the cafeteria, and the auditorium?
You mean once the new building is built?
Yeah, I mean, it'll depend on the progression of what we're doing with the elementary level, but that space would be available.
And I did hear some scuttlebutt, I don't know if this is the truth, that the administration building might be relocating here.
No,
All right, someone's just saying something.
no, yeah. One of those Lynn rumors.
I wanted to ask, Mayor, is there any way when we redo the park down here, if we could get a splash pad for the kids?
So the space here will be part of the school grounds. And so I think the design is gonna, for the playground is gonna be limited to what is here now, in part because of the space considerations. You know, we are trying to add splash pads when we can, and I do think it's an important mechanism to finish the certainly something we can look at in the future. You know, there, right now it's, Flax, Kylie, Barry, Urbanus, and we should be moving to more of those. There's not, I don't think, a plan to have space for that one. Yeah.
If not here, how about that one?
Thank you. Yeah. Definitely take a look. All right, no further questions on the line either. Nobody else here. So thank you all so much for being here, for the follow-up questions, for being part of this process with us. It's really exciting for us to be advancing on it's so near and dear to the hearts of so many here in the city that will live for. So,